Man is stranded in the middle of the road blocking the oncoming traffic. He wakes up after the onlookers throw him on the side. He is new to the city, but he is worried even more since he wanders around in search of someone. He ends up on the beach, and a local thief steals his money but ends up getting caught by a fishing net on the side. The man goes forward to help him out of the net, and the thief is shocked to learn that the man isn't asking for his money but is looking for someone named Neela. The thief takes a cut and advises the man to keep the rest of the money safely. He guides him to the local police station where we learn that the man's name is Krishna. He tells the policeman that he is looking for Neela, which translates to moon in the local language. Since Krishna does seem to be mentally disabled, the policeman sends him out asking to bring a lawyer with him next time. Krishna asks for a lawyer, so the policeman tells him that the lawyers will be there at the court. When Krishna comes out, he hears the police ordering the suspects going to court to get on the van. Reaching the court, the policeman finds that Krishna has boarded the van too and asks him to get down. At this time, lawyer Vinod is pitching to the ones who arrived, but ends up getting the attention of a murderer who killed his lawyer who failed to win his previous case. Vinod runs away from him to end up near the van, where the policeman points him towards Krishna as a prospective client for him. Trusting the policeman, Vinod approaches Krishna and takes him to his office. Then, Vinod calls Anu, who gets sent out from court for answering the call when the court is in session. She reaches office, and Vinod pleads Anu to bag the only client he has managed to bring to the office. Before heading in, Anu tells Vinod to barge in whenever she calls him to make it look like they are busy. Anu enters and introduces herself to Krishna and gives her card, but Krishna keeps it back on the table, so she shows hands for him to keep the card in his pocket. Following this, she asks about the details, and only after Krishna starts speaking, she realizes that he is mentally not sound. Right then, she calls Vinod, but he goes out as soon as he comes in. She asks Krishna to continue, but is shocked to hear him start from the beginning. Anu calls Vinod again, but this time she manages to hold him in and asks Krishna to continue. Vinod is shocked to hear the same thing from before and asks Anu, but Krishna clears that it is. Vinod signals Anu to get up and walk out, but Krishna follows her. Right then, their colleague Priya enters the office, and Vinod takes her in as a client and manages to take Krishna out. Anu scolds Vinod for bringing such a person and starts to head out, but she stops and goes back in. She pulls Vinod, and we see that Krishna is waiting in front of their office, and so Anu thinks of a plan and they head fast outside as if they are in a hurry. Krishna follows them, and they run around the court to escape from him. Just when they thought they lost him, Nanda, a lawyer who has his eyes on Priya, brings Krishna to them since he found him searching for them. They send him away, and Anu tells Krishna to stay right there until they bring Neela to him. At night, Anu heads home to her father, and they are not on speaking terms, but they care for each other. Later into the night, Anu gets a phone call, and we see her and Vinod heading back to the court. They find a group of policemen who tell her Krishna refused to budge from that place, and since they found her card on him, they contacted her. Anu takes responsibility for him and take him to the hospital since the police had beaten him to quite an extent. With what Krishna had told Anu, they gather information and find a man named Victor who knows Krishna. When Krishna sees him, he starts acting up and tells him that Neela was taken from him. The doctors put Krishna to sleep, and Anu asks Victor who is Neela to Krishna. We go back to the past where Krishna and a bunch of people just like him are employed by Victor at his chocolate factory in a village in Odi. One day, Murthy A. Sr. working there asks Krishna to start working, but Krishna tells him that he is waiting for his baby. But still, Murthy insists Krishna to get back to work, but soon he is reprimanded by Victor to get back to the hospital. At the hospital, the nurse takes Krishna to his daughter, and as Krishna looks fascinated by his daughter, Victor comes to inform him that his wife Banu has left to meet God. He takes care of Banu's final rites as Krishna takes care of the baby. Hearing the baby crying nonstop at night, Murthy's wife Raji comes to Krishna's home and asks Krishna why he isn't doing anything. Hearing him question back what was he supposed to do, Raji realizes that she should teach Krishna whatever she can. The following days, Krishna tries his best to take care of the baby, and Raji too helps him in between. One day, Victor argues with Murthy regarding the weight mismatch of their deliveries, and Murthy reprimands Muruga, who tags along with him during the delivery. To avoid getting caught, Muruga shares false rumors about Raji and Krishna being together for the sake of taking care of the baby, and Murthy takes the bait. The following days, Murthy finds his wife along with Krishna, and his doubts only tend to grow further. One evening, Krishna's friends come to find Krishna and complain about him missing one of their birthday parties, but they are surprised to find him holding a baby. Krishna reveals that the baby is his, and while they ask him the baby's name, Krishna comes up with Neela on catching sight of the moon in the sky. They rejoice, and Krishna takes care of Neela diligently. Neela grows under his warmth and love as she questions everything around him, and even though Krishna manages around, Victor feels that Neela will soon be smarter than her father. We see Krishna and Neela at a nearby school watching the kids play. Victor asks Neela if she wishes to go to school, and Neela asks him why must she do so. He tells her that she can learn to become a doctor so that she can take better care of her father. Krishna loves that as well, but we know he doesn't get the whole picture. Krishna and his friends go shopping for Neela, and they put in their shares since Krishna comes short on purchasing shoes for her. Soon, Neela goes to school, and Krishna drops her at the bus stop and follows the other parents in sending off their kids. One of the kids in the bus sees him, worried. Krishna follows the bus to her school, but he couldn't get inside. Neela hears him outside and notices him from the window and sends him off after doing their secret greeting. And one day, when the teacher questions Neela not having done her homework, the boy mentions that Neela's father is mental. The teacher tells her that she will not be allowed inside class if she doesn't complete her homework. So the next day, Neela waits outside the classroom and runs into Swetha, who volunteers to help her on learning Neela's mother left to see God. Because of this, Swetha decides to drop Neela at her home and asks her assistant to inform the watchman and the bus driver. Krishna doesn't find Neela on the bus and frantically runs to the school. The watchman chases after him, and they later learn that the school correspondent had taken Neela home in her car. Hearing this, Krishna rushes back home immediately. Raji comes out to tell him that the school correspondent dropped her off, and Neela is angry. Krishna goes to apologize to her and mentions how he was searching for her everywhere. Hearing the truth, Neela accepts his apology, and she too apologizes for going on her own. The next day, the teacher informs the students about their school cultural program and that everyone must participate. That night, Neela tells Krishna about this, and he manages to jumble up random fantasy story with the help of his friends and spend a joyful time with Neela. On the day of the program, Neela does a good job, and the whole team headed by Victor is there to watch her perform. Following her, the kid who spoke about Krishna gets nervous and the audience start laughing. Behind the stage, Neela tries to hint the kid, and Krishna tells her to go on stage to help him. Before any of the teachers take action, Neela comes up to the kid and they both perform together. Little Neela has taught everyone there to not hesitate to help someone in front of them and moves everyone's hearts. At the end, Neela bags the first place, and Swetha sees Krishna for the first time and gets the shock of her life. At the time, Murthy happens to be near her, and he starts bad-mouthing Krishna since Raji was next to Krishna. He discloses that Krishna is Neela's father, and because of him, his wife Banu had passed away, and now he is worried about Neela. Swetha runs back to call her father, mentioning that her sister Banu has passed away, and Krishna is the man Banu had eloped with. Swetha tells her fiancé Karthik about wanting to save Neela, and when Neela comes to show her prize to Swetha, she holds on to Neela, and Karthik pushes Krishna away, saying Neela won't be going with him. Krishna immediately takes Neela and runs outside. Victor and the others see Krishna being chased, and right when he heads outside the gate, a car stops in front of him, and Swetha's father, Rajendran, asks them to stop. Later, they can be seen at Krishna's home where they look at Banu's picture, and Rajendran promises to take care of Krishna and Neela together back at his home in Chennai. Victor feels both the father and child having better chances after leaving this place, so he agrees and hands Krishna the salary he has earned working there till now. Krishna and Neela bid goodbye to everyone and leave along with Rajendran. Once they reach the outskirts of Chennai, Rajendran stops the car and takes the sleeping Neela from Krishna and asks him to step down for a moment. With no doubt, Krishna does what he's told, but the moment he gets down, Rajendran closes the car door and storms off with Neela. Krishna chases after the car as long as he can and ends up fainting on the road. Hearing what happened so far, Anu promises Victor that she will take care of Krishna and will make sure that Neela gets back with her father. She takes Krishna to her house and informs her father that he will be staying with them until the case is closed. The next day, Anu takes Krishna to Rajendran's house and tells him that Neela is confined inside. Krishna runs calling out for Neela, but sadly Neela is not in the house. The guards throw them out and Rajendran tells both of them to get lost. Having no other option to go against a big shot, Anu files a habeas corpus against Rajendran, thinking Neela has to be brought out before them. Rajendran hires the fearsome senior lawyer Bashyam, and both Vinod and Priya have no hope since they are facing such a beast. Vinod confronts Anu for her actions, but she points out her promise to Krishna to get Neela back. We see them in court waiting to see Neela, but Bashyam has used the option of her being a minor need not be presented at court. Anu loses hope and asks Vinod to take Krishna back. The court session begins, and Bashyam gives his statement of Rajendran being the legal guardian of Neela. She need not be given back to Krishna, with him being mentally disabled. Anu immediately objects his statement, asking for proof for what he just said, but Bashyam's team do not have any reports to prove the claim. In the heat of the moment, Anu pleads to the judge that they have defamed her client, who is a normal person just like anyone else, and the judge tells Bashyam to come prepared for the next hearing. Back at home, Vinod is surprised to hear how well she has lied to the court, and Anu says that they only need to prove Krishna is normal, and for that, they will be needing the help of Priya. In the next setting, we see Anu and Vinod in the beach, and Priya signals for their plan is a go. Soon, Nanda comes to meet her, and it seems like they have planned to wager Nanda's love for Priya to help them get insights about the case since he works under Bashyam. They learn that Bashyam has received approval to get Krishna IQ tested and plan to bribe the doctor since they heard that he really loves alcohol. Having that done, they are ready at the hospital but find that the doctor testing Krishna is a different one. Surprised, they inquire to hear that the doctor who was assigned got wasted. Anu takes Priya to ask Nanda to do something, but he is against helping Anu. She pushes Priya to riz him up, and he goes to meet the doctor. He mentions that Bashyam sent him and poses himself to hand over a bribe, asking for him to mention that Krishna has low IQ. The doctor hates the idea and tells Nanda to get out, but Nanda portrays that the doctor cannot do anything and they can print their own certificate if they wish. Finally, Nanda leaves, and in the court, we witness the judge reading the report mention that Krishna is indeed normal. Bashyam is shocked and raises that the report is forged, but Anu, who came prepared, puts forth cases where Bashyam won using a similar report and wishes Krishna is ready for reassessment if Bashyam agrees to re-access those cases too. Unwilling to accept, Bashyam withdraws and the judge calls for Neela be given an hour to spend with Krishna that evening. Rajendran is unhappy with this outcome, but Bashyam tells him that the opposition has the major hand until Krishna is hidden, but if he comes out, then the victory is in their hands. But still, Rajendran does not like Neela meeting Krishna, and Bashyam plans to capture Krishna and make Neela not see him at all. Anu heads home to bring Krishna, whereas Vinod and Priya stay back to follow Bashyam's team. On their way, the road gets blocked due to traffic, and Anu takes Krishna on foot to court. But Krishna refuses to break road rules to cross the road even though there's no vehicle, since the signal is red, and they come close to the end of the time limit given to them. At this time, Vinod and Priya distract Bashyam's subordinates by directing them to another location, and while they leave to capture Krishna, Bashyam tells Rajendran to leave. Nanda stays back to inform Anu and Krishna that Neela is about to leave, and Krishna rushes to only to slip and fall, but he gets a glimpse of Neela taken in the car. A lawyer calls Bashyam to inform about Krishna being there, and when he and his team rush back, they don't find anyone there. Following this, we see Swetha trying her best to gain Neela's favor, who's asking for her father nonstop, and Swetha answers her that her father is undergoing treatment in a hospital, but Neela questions back on her lie and asks while Swetha is staying with her father, why can't she? Rajendran puts pressure on Bashyam to win the case, and in the next court session, Bashyam puts forth to the judge why Krishna has not been to the court till now. Even though Anu objects to this, the judge decides on Krishna be present in the next session. So, Anu calls for Neela be brought to the court as well since the case is regarding her custody. Bashyam is taken aback, but the judge approves this as well. That evening, Bashyam calls all his assistants to discuss the next court hearing, and later, Nanda heads to meet Anu to inform Bashyam's plans. The next morning, Bashyam calls Nanda and lets him know that the discussion the previous day was to find the black sheep, and shows Nada's phone records indicating him call Anu's assistant Priya the minute their meeting was over. He asks Nanda what their plan was, and Nanda tells him that Krishna will not go to court, and they have decided to inform the court that Bashyam has kidnapped him. Bashyam likes the idea and asks why not execute it. That night, Nanda goes to Anu's house and signals Krishna to come out, assuring to take him to Neela. Finally, Bashyam meets Krishna, who has been giving him all the trouble in this case. Sometime later, Krishna hears a boy coughing continuously and manages to head out the side door to find the boy. He immediately runs off outside while the shocked lawyers give chase but lose sight of him. Hearing the commotion, Bashyam comes out to notice his kid being sick and calls his family doctor. At this time, Anu and Vinod search all around for Krishna, and we can see her father talking to her after a long time, and Anu ends up crying as he consoles her. Back in Bashyam's house, the doctor checks the kid and also advises Bashyam and his wife that it is their duty to take care of their child. At this time, Krishna comes back and runs into the kid's room. The doctor gets the paper bag from Krishna to find the medicine she prescribed inside, and Krishna heads back silently to the room he was confined in, and Bashyam is shocked to see this side of Krishna. The next morning, Bashyam and his team are ready to take Krishna to court, and before they leave, Krishna inquires about their son's condition to Bashyam's wife, who eyes Bashyam to help Krishna. Vinod is trying to comfort Anu, who is worried sick about Krishna, and they notice Bashyam's team bringing Krishna in. They figure out that Nanda has betrayed them and head inside. Bashyam starts with cross-examination, and Krishna struggles to answer even the name of the school Neela goes to. But hearing him say that Neela will become a doctor, Bashyam puts forth a barrage of questions on how he will aid her to become one, despite him not having the ability to take care of her as a daughter. Bashyam declares that if Neela stays with him, she does not have a future. Pressured, Krishna starts tearing up, and Anu is saddened, being unable to help him at this point. Right then, Neela comes in with Swetha and sees Krishna, and he too notices her. They soon start exchanging their special greeting, and the exchange between the two is witnessed by the whole court. Bashyam, who is delivering his closing statement, stops when he sees the judge looking at Krishna and Neela as well. Rajendra feels the love between Krishna and Neela, and finally, having come to a decision, Bashyam concludes that he has no objection in Neela staying with Krishna. After this, Anu and Vinod see Krishna and Neela playing together joyfully, and as Bashyam crosses them, Anu mentions that Krishna's love for Neela is what won the case. Bashyam replies her that for the first time in his career, he feels happy and proud to have lost a case. That night, Krishna and Neela stay at Anu's house playing and sharing stories. However, sometime later when Anu comes to check up on them, she finds the room empty. At this time, Krishna is at Swetha's house and hands over Neela sleeping in his arms over to Swetha, who is in tears. He tells her to inform Neela that he is sick and leaves after mentioning all of Neela's likes and dislikes. Anu happens to reach the place and she sees Swetha holding Neela and tells Krishna he should not be doing this, but he stops her and mentions what Bashyam told him about Neela not having a future if she stays with him, and says that she will come back to him as a doctor. Swetha and Anu are stunned hearing this, and Krishna walks away. Let me know in the comments if this story brought you to tears, just like it did for me, and I shall see you again with another story like this. Until then, this is your host for Movie Recap signing off.